It's May, just after Mother's Day, which is officially time to plant the summer crops. I always tell people you really shouldn't plant tomatoes until after Mother's Day, and that's because that's when the soil starts to warm up and they'll really take off. So even if you have your tomatoes in, they've kind of just been sitting around and they will start taking off now. Well, let's take a look around the garden. There's so much going on. Well, here is a view of the garden from the sidewalk. As you can see, things are really growing. The lavenders are just getting huge and getting flowers. So you can see here, this one's already gotten all its flowers. Now I will let these fully open and then I will cut them. And then you can see how beautiful the variegated is, and it's just starting to put some flowers on. It's so nice to have these as a border along the edge. And even the little ones that I planted this year, these are a different variety of lavender, and you can see that the flowers kind of clump up more. And the nasturtiums is just taking over. Now if you walk, we're going to walk through, and the blue flowers are cornflowers that I planted years ago, and they just come up everywhere. I pull most of them out, and these are kind of the ones that were left in the crack. Now the nasturtium are kind of on the end of their life here. When it gets warm, it's just too hot for them. And the flowers that I planted here, these ones here are really tall, and then some of the other ones are still just starting. And like I said, it's just going to start to warm up here, so a lot of these will take off. Well, you can see there's some strawberries, and I am just loving this tower for strawberries. I would recommend this to anybody. I haven't had any bugs. They've been doing really well. They're just beautiful here. So I've been noticing here in the onions, they are starting to bulb. As you can see, can you see this one here? He has a pretty good sized bulb. And these will pretty much be done in another month. But the peppers, and you can see some of the carrots are still there. And then I've started planting for the arbor. So there's some cucumbers and melons. And all these will be small melons, like little personal sized melons. And I've planted some of the melons out as starts, and then I will mix in some seeds just because it's been a little early for them, and sometimes the seeds will just start taking off. And come along, look at this sunflower. This is from last year, a seed. This is here. So this will be a great big sunflower. So here in the second bed, the peas are almost done. I probably should have planted these much earlier and they would have done better. And then this is where summer squash and cucumbers will be, and the garlic is almost done. But you can see these are peas that I started earlier, and they did much better. And I could have probably planted them even a couple weeks earlier, and they would have gotten bigger. And then the tomatillos, and some more onions. The third bed, now the tomatoes will really start taking off. And then these are some cabbages, and they'll be done before the tomatoes get too big. And then here's some pole beans that I put along, and I mix them in with the tomatoes. Then here's the calendula. I'm still picking from it. It's almost done. You can see it's just getting really scraggly. The flowers are smaller. So I just need to pick a few more, and then I'll have enough for the year, and then I'll take the plant out. And then on this side of the tomatoes, I planted some basil and some radishes and some onions. And because I have a small space, I really try to pack in as much as I can. When something comes out, I put something in. And I just planted these basil. And then here's the fourth bed. Now I'm going to put some eggplant in here. You can see the lemongrass. Now this lemongrass has been it started off at the farm and then went to another farm, and then I got another piece from them. And I planted this last spring and it just kind of hung in, and it's doing really good this year. And I will be planting more greens in here. Some of the smaller ones are kind of taken off. Now this arugula I've cut down like 4 times, and I'm still getting arugula off of it, but it's almost done. The potatoes. So the potatoes are just starting to flower, so then I know that they are starting to make tubers. And I've been really liking this, and this is just shredded cardboard, and when you dig down, it's really soft and still wet. And you can see here, I don't see any tubers or anything, but the soil is nice and soft and wet, so I'm really liking this cardboard. Bed with the herbs, and you can just see how well they're doing. And I couldn't resist, and I got a few more herbs. So here's the stevia hanging in there, and then I got some more oregano and thyme. It seems like thyme grows slow, and you always need like 3 times more thyme than all the other herbs. And then I got another sage because I didn't have any green sage, and then parsley, and I've still mixed in onions, and the mint is really doing well. Now I just harvested some mint that was growing by the sidewalk, and I dried it, and I got a whole quart of dried mint from it. The persimmon tree is just starting to flower. They have such pretty flowers. They are these kind of red orange flowers, And they're just beautiful. Okay, well, I'm going to take you over to the neighbors and you can see how the potatoes and tomatoes are doing there. Well, here are the tomatoes at the neighbors, and these are determinate tomatoes. So they're only going to get so big, put out so many fruit all at the same time. But you can just see how big they're getting. They're at least 1 to 2 feet. I'm starting to see some flowers. Now I came around and I put some more compost at the bottom and then some straw, as you can see here, just because it gets so dry. I think we're pretty much at the end of the rain here, so we won't get any more rain until maybe October, November. These are some ground cherries that somebody gave me, so I put them over here. And the potatoes, it's like a forest. Now it's kind of shaded here, so we'll see how they do. That's why they're also really tall. Now I've covered them at least 6 inches with straw. And I've never done this before, but I'm giving it a try. Now I've never grown potatoes like this before with the straw or over here, but I'm giving it a try. And we'll just see how it does. But the plants look really good. Besides being a little tall because they probably need a little more sun than what they're getting. But we'll just have to see how they do with making tubers, little potatoes. I'm going to take you back over. I wanted to show you the succulents I have in the rock garden by the house. I wanted to bring you over and show you the succulents by the house because this is the time that some are flowering, that they do the most of their growing. And you know, they don't get that much sun. Like, they get sun in the morning, but they get a lot of shade. And they still do so well. And since not that much grows here, I wouldn't be able to grow anything really edible. So, and I really enjoy having them here because they don't take much water, they don't have much sun. And then you come along closer to the door. Okay, well, I'm going to take you in the back and I'm going to show you the fruit trees because they're doing really well. So here is the lemon tree. If you go back, I pruned him really heavily about 6 weeks ago, but he has totally grown and filled in, and he flowered, and you can just see how many little clusters. Now I'm going to have to pick some of these off because they won't mature and get nice and big when you have that many. But on top, which are the older ones, there's lots of fruit. Well, and then here is the persimmon tree. The persimmons are one of my favorite fruits in the fall. And this tree has it's like doubled in size this year. And it has so many fruits on it. And you can just see them here. This is a fruit. This right here. And these are fujus. So they're ones you eat like apples. And it's just covered in flowers. Well, here is my passion fruit vine, and you can just see some of the flowers. Now I have this on the fence in the back, and it gets sun, but not a whole lot of sun, so you don't get crazy growth. If they are out full sun, they will just grow like crazy. But this vine's been here 3 years, and I did trim it this year, and I kind of keep it in line, and it's grown a lot. But you can already see it has some flowers, and it's probably a good 20 feet. Well, this is my Susumi. It is a mandarin. It is my oldest tree, and it's doing really well. It flowered, and you can just see all the little fruits. Again, you know, you do have to come and thin the fruits out so they get nice and big. But he is just doing really well. And then here is the fig tree. Now I noticed this year it didn't put out so many new branches, which is kind of nice because it was just like crazy. And I did see some fruit on here already. I don't see him now. But a lot of times the figs will fruit twice. Oh, if I go up here, you can see one. See right there? There's one. Now here is the apple tree, and this is a Fuji apple tree, and it already has so many apples. Now it hasn't really given that many apples, so this I think will be the first year with a good amount of apples. So I am really excited. Now I pruned this tree where it's pretty flat on one side along the fence, and then I'm letting it branch out a little bit on this side. If you can see that, how it's pretty flat here along the fence. But I'm super excited to have this apple tree. So the other thing I'm super excited about is the loofahs. They are actually really doing well. Now I started probably about 60 seeds, and I really only got 3 plants. There's 2 here, and then I actually see that there's a little baby one down at the bottom, which I might try to transplant because these will get huge, and I have to cover them and keep them from the chickens. So I had 2 on the other side, and then there's 1 over here. And then I have a full-size cattle panel for them to grow on, which is 16 feet tall. And they can even grow on the fence. So I'm super excited. We have really long growing season, so we should be able to get them to really mature. So I'm excited. Well, that is it for this video. Well, I'm excited for this time of the year, just after Mother's Day, when it's really going to start warming up here. And I'm looking forward to all the new vegetables that will be growing this summer. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, I'd love to hear from you where you're growing and what you are growing. So leave it in the comments. And also, remember to subscribe to my channel and to click that bell so you can get more videos when I put them out.